In this video, we will take a look at how systems management can enable you to find and manage other network devices in your sites. We will cover how the agent communicates over the network using network nodes, how to do network discovery, and how to add and manage other network devices. Let's get started. Network communication in systems management is done through network nodes. These are devices with the normal systems management agent installed that you designate as a node in your network. Network nodes do a few things for us. They can do network scanning in order to discover unknown or unmanaged devices. If these devices are using Windows, macOS, or Linux, network nodes can even remotely deploy the agent to them. Network nodes also handle communication between systems management and other network devices that do not support installing the agent on them. This includes things like Wi-Fi access points, firewalls, and printers. You can monitor whether the network devices are online, use SNMP to gather data about them, and even connect to them through the network node using web connections and SSH. This is a great way to have more visibility into the devices running in your network. I want to briefly mention how the Simple Network Management Protocol, or SNMP, works as well. SNMP is a simple way to retrieve information from other devices, and it has two different modes of operation. SNMP polling is where the information is requested. For example, when systems management wants to track the CPU usage on the Firebox, a network node will continuously send SNMP polls to the Firebox to get this information on a regular basis. The other mode of operation are SNMP traps. Traps are alerts that are configured on the device itself and are only sent when they are triggered. For example, the Firebox could be configured to send traps to the network node when malicious traffic is detected, or when a branch office VPN goes down. Now that we know that, let's take a look at how we can get started using network nodes to do network discovery. I'm already logged into Systems Management, and I have selected all my sites in the menu on the left. Network devices are specific to each site, so I need to choose the site I will be working with. Then I can go to Network Discovery on the left. This wizard will help us get up and running. First, I need to select the network node I want to use, and I will select this computer from the list. The computer's local subnet is automatically added for scanning, and I can add any additional subnets that I want to be scanned in this site as well. Then I can configure credentials. This is where I can add an administrator login for Windows, so the agent can be installed on other Windows computers. I can also add SNMP and other credentials here as well. On the next screen, I can review my onboarding settings to determine if I want to automatically install the agent and add discovered network devices, which could begin automatically applying policies, monitoring, and jobs to those devices. I will leave that off for now. Finally, I can review the settings. I will confirm the scan to initiate it, then I just need to wait a while to see the results. By the way, if you want to change these settings later, you can see the network node setting in the details for each device. This lets you designate additional nodes for the site. The settings for additional subnets and onboarding are located on the site settings page if you want to add more networks to be scanned. You can also add additional credentials by going to the Setup Credentials page. When I come back to Network Discovery later, I can see that several devices in the network have been discovered. From here, I can click them to get some more information. And at the top, I have the option to onboard them. This device is the Firebox in my network, so I will go ahead and designate it as a firewall and assign the SNMP credentials I added earlier to it. I also see a Windows computer that I want to install the agent on, so I will onboard it using the Windows credentials I added as well. After I onboard these devices, the network node will start communicating to the Firebox, and it will install the agent on the other computer. If I check back a short time later, I can see the devices are now in the account, and their hostname and other details have been recorded here in Network Discovery. I can also find them in my device list, just like any other device. When you are looking for your network devices, make sure you select Total or Network at the top to see them. I can always add network devices to the site manually as well by selecting Add Device on the Devices page, then adding the internal IP address, selecting a network node, and filling out the other information. Let's take a closer look at my Firebox. I can click on it in the list to see more details. At the top of this page, I can easily adjust the settings to use a different network node, change IP addresses, or use different SNMP credentials. I can also see some details about the device that have been automatically gathered. Below that, I can see any alerts that have been generated, along with any policies and monitors that have been configured for this device. I can also see related network devices, administrative actions, and have the same options for notes and user-defined fields that I get with any other device. Now that I have added my network device, the network node also enables me to remotely access this device using tunneled connections. At the top, I will select Agent Browser for my Firebox, which will open the agent on my computer and make a remote connection to the Firebox through the network node. At this point, I can see some basic information about the device, and I have a few options to create a tunnel for web connections, SSH, and other protocols. For example, I can create a tunnel to the Firebox's web UI by entering the port 8080 after the IP address and selecting HTTPS. The tunnel will connect and a proxy setting will be configured for my browser. Then I can use the link here to access the Firebox remotely. After I log in, I have full access to the web UI for easy management of this remote Firebox. From here, I want to add some monitors to track the health of my Firebox. I will start on the Policies page and use our best practices. I just need to find WatchGuard in the list, and I can add a new policy. If you're working with other third-party network devices, check the best practices here, or check the COM store for additional monitoring policies to help you get started monitoring those devices. When I create this policy, the first thing I need to do is choose the scope, and I will make this a global policy to apply to all my Fireboxes. Below that, you can see that most of the monitors that have been added are for SNMP polling. Let's take a look at the Active Connections monitor. You can see that the alert is configured to poll the Firebox for an SNMP OID. This string of numbers identifies the specific data that systems management is asking the Firebox to report back. These OID numbers are defined inside of something called a Management Information Base, or MIB. Check out the WatchGuard Help Center for more information on the MIBs that the Firebox uses. This is where you can find the OID numbers for a ton of different data on the Firebox. You can then use this information to create new custom SNMP monitors to track that data back in systems management. Like any other monitor, I can also set responses at the bottom in order to be sent emails or other messages if things are not working. I will just use the monitors already included in these best practices. I also need to define the targets, and I will add the default filter for all firewalls to monitor my Fireboxes for these values. Then I will add the policy. For this to work, the Firebox must be configured to enable SNMP, which you can do in the Firebox web UI under System, then SNMP. You can also enable SNMP for Fireboxes managed in WatchGuard Cloud under the Global Settings. Just select the SNMP tab and enable the slider. I would recommend using SNMP version 3 for the most security possible, and you must make sure all the settings are configured the same as systems management for the connection to work. You also need to review your firewall policies to confirm that SNMP traffic from the network node is allowed to be sent to the Firebox. For more information about configuring these settings, check the WatchGuard Help Center. Now that everything is configured, when I go back to the details of my Firebox in Systems Management, I can review the Monitor section and see the results of all these SNMP monitors. For the sake of time, I will not go too far into the details of how to set up SNMP traps in Systems Management, but it is possible to receive them. You must first use a job to deploy the SNMP trap forwarder component from the COM store to your network node. After you do this, you can set up a new monitoring policy for the network node using the best practice SNMP trap forwarding policy. After the network node is set up, you can configure the Firebox to send traps to the network node, then configure alarm notifications to be sent using SNMP for the events you want to track. If the trap is triggered, it will appear via the policy in Systems Management, which you can then review or configure to send you an email. In this video, we looked at how Systems Management enables you to designate network nodes that can perform network discovery and remote onboarding. We saw how you can add new network devices to your sites and use the agent browser to remotely connect to network devices using a tunnel through the network node. We also saw how you can set policies to monitor your devices using SNMP.